This is the end. Beautiful.
MarkDice.com is the website. He's written multiple books. We carry them all at Infowars.com. They're excellent, including one titled The Illuminati and the Resistance. I know we got a lot of callers who are military, radiologists, TSA. We're going to take your calls coming up in the next segment. I'll keep Dice a little bit in the next hour as well because he's got so much to talk about. But, Mark, do you agree with me that the global architects, the social engineers, know there's an awakening? In fact, Zbigniew Brzezinski admits that, the greatest awakening, he calls it. And so they're trying to bum rush us and just get everything in place right now because Google's coming out and saying we can predict the future. We're tracking everything you do. We are evil. We are the government. I mean, they're just everywhere admitting all of this now, Mark.
Yeah, and the consensus is to still make us feel like we're the weirdos, we're quackery. But, I mean, let's look at this technology that they say that's supposedly going to predict all this stuff. It is largely quackery, the mind scanners, supposedly being able to read your mind and tell if you've had experiential knowledge of things. This is all coming in the next probably 10 to 15 years. And it's so scary. I mean, before the break, I was mentioning this new GPS device that's about the size of a 50-cent piece that parents are attaching onto their children. And it just shows on their cell phone where their little 2-year-old is at all times. And it also has a microphone in it so they can use their cell phone to listen to their child to see what he's talking about. And this is all just becoming normal. And Facebook, of course, has just caused everybody to fall in love with Big Brother, telling them what they do, think, and feel, where they're at any particular moment.
But, Mark, entire public schools are fitting all the kids with RFID, and in some cases, the GPS trackers. And now, for unpaid parking tickets, they're going to make you wear an anklet bracelet.
Yeah, and the funny thing is most people now using Facebook with over 500 million users are willingly handing over their deepest thoughts, all of their personal information, their family members, where they work. The social implications just on that alone are immense. And I put out a press release a couple weeks ago trying to urge people to log off of Facebook for a week. I called it Facebook Free Week. And I got a little flack even from some of the movement. People think that, oh, this isn't 9/11. Look, there's more to the New World Order than the Big Brother, the economy, the police state, terrorism. There's a whole social aspect of it as well. And if we are turning ourselves, our society, into a bunch of self-absorbed narcissists, not focusing on real events, but just on what I'm doing. Look at what's happened in the last few years with Facebook. Every day, millions of people post multiple times a day what it is that they're doing as if the world literally revolves around them. Oh, I just had a great breakfast. I just had a good latte. It's a beautiful morning today. I'm going to go here. Oh, I'm doing here. Look at my new picture of myself. Don't I look really pretty? It's fascinating, and it's not only me that's saying this. I started noticing this even amongst my actual friends. So I put out Facebook Free Week, and then immediately I started seeing these real studies from universities, the University of Michigan, York University in Canada, and they're confirming this, that society is becoming extremely narcissistic, less empathetic than they were 20 or 30 years ago.
But it's worse than that. The vocabulary, as Orwell wrote about, the object of ingsoc was to destroy words, limit vocabulary to just say double plus good, to where someone can't even communicate to you complex thoughts because you don't have the semantical symbols in your mental lexicon or thesaurus to be able to even understand what they're saying. And the Buffalo News reported that, oh, yeah, the police are getting all this data mined Facebook, Google stuff to, quote, predict what you're doing pre-crime.
Yeah, that's probably coming down. It's so scary now. I mean, we have Orwell here said it's terribly dangerous to let your thoughts wander when you were in a public place within range of a telescreen. The smallest thing could give you away, a nervous tic, an unconscious look of anxiety, a habit of muttering to yourself, anything that carried the suggestion of abnormality, of having something to hide.
And now they're putting the telescreens in that both receive and transmit, and they say, if you look unhappy or you're sweating, that's the evidence they need to take you away.
There was a case in India of a woman being convicted of murder, actually, from a brain scan that said that she had experiential knowledge of the crime scene. So now they're developing these devices. They're called functional MRIs, fMRIs, that allegedly they believe, or at least they're purporting them to be able to detect in your mind whether you have been somewhere or whether you have actually seen something or heard something. And we know that this is all going to start becoming standard operating procedure. And lie detectors aren't even allowed in a court of law because they're not completely accurate. It's largely quackery.
And there's a whole other angle to this. All these big Defense Department-affiliated companies, they're getting these trillions and trillions of contracts over the decades, so they're also profiting from enslaving us. Stay with us. Going back to Mark Dice, I was looking at the front page of markdice.com. We'll put it up on screen for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. You can just search the term monkeys with brain chips, monkeys in medical tests for decades. I mean, I remember 25 years ago seeing Scientific American reporting on remote control cockroaches, which is one little microchip, who I think is even more amazing than Eric Blair, a.k.a. George Orwell, was, of course, Aldous Huxley. He wrote in 1932, Brave New World, and before he died in 1962, he said, this is actually what we're planning. And his brother, of course, ran UNESCO at the UN at the time. People read that book and they go, this is what's happening now. Well, that's how advanced their technologies are. We'll put that monkey back up on screen for folks. If they're not watching PrisonPlanet.tv, they can go to markdice.com and look at it. But that's basically how the globalists see humans. Finish up your point about narcissism, because people say, well, hey, it is all about me. Yeah, but once everybody is like that, then no one cares about anybody else. And you were talking about all the studies showing people have lost their empathy. Sometimes I'll go review a movie because I've got to go watch it, to review it, that's full of violence and death and kids being killed. And the audience laughs and giggles and enjoys it because they're being desensitized. And the major studies and brain scans show they then can't differentiate real things. People now laugh at car accidents with someone's head cut off. They now see a woman, famous case in Toronto a few years ago, being raped in the main street, beaten with a lead pipe, and for 2+ hours no one helped her. And the boss at one telecommunications company, it was in the news, told his employees, don't call the police. We don't have time to even deal with them. Let her bleed. Everyone giggled and felt official and powerful. And that's what yuppies do. And you warn them about, hey, these naked body scanners, that they're recording them at Bayesian radiation, and they just go, nah, sure.
Well, it's interesting that Facebook and MySpace, these sites are called social and networking sites, when really they are social isolation sites because they supplement in an artificial way actual friendships and actual relationships. And again, some people attack me even for talking about this, but I take a holistic approach to fighting the New World Order, not just 9/11, the police state, Big Brother. The family relationships, interpersonal relationships have a lot to do with it because that maintains the fabric of society. So we have these Facebook pages of people that feel that they log on every day and they feel that they're so important that they're the star of their own reality show and they need to tell the world about what it is that they're doing or some random witty thought. And the site, I believe, tricks people into feeling that they're actually interacting with their quote-unquote friends. Of course, many of them are not even friends, not even really acquaintances, just random people they've met maybe once that have then cyber-stalked them and sent them a friend request. But it's fascinating to see how if you log on to Facebook every day, as most people do, and your mind is tricked into believing that you have these people in your life. If you can see a status update, a picture, your brain is tricked into thinking that they're actually in your life, but they're not. Go and have dinner, go have Taco Tuesdays, go have some drinks with some, have a barbecue, have some people over, have your real friends over. It's unbelievable how Facebook has taken over, and there's so many other implications to Facebook, Big Brother aspects-wise, selling your photographs. I mean, we wonder how when Elliot Spitzer's hooker scandal broke, all of a sudden her photo and her family photos were all over the news. How did that happen? Well, because they were on MySpace. And if you read the contract that you enter into, the terms of service on MySpace or Facebook, they own your photos. You are licensing the photos to them. There's also just countless instances of the police posing as beautiful girls and sending college students friend requests on Facebook and then going through their photos and finding pictures of them with alcohol, and then arresting them for underage drinking. So go on and love Big Brother. See what it's doing for you.
Well, I tend to agree with you overall, Mark, but it's just like the Matrix. You've got to jack into the Matrix to reach people, but I think we should go on Facebook and MySpace, as I've done, and criticize the system and point out what's happening. I mean, it's like iPhones and cell phones. Since 1996, we knew from the Telecommunications Act that they track you in real time, they listen to you, they dial in. Google has the patents in your home computer 5 years ago. They're watching you at home over the camera. And you tell people this, and they just can't believe it because it's so over the top, but it's admitted. And then Google says, well, it's computers that are watching you and listening to you and logging keywords, so it's okay, but that humans at Google have access to that. So
I'm not saying, Facebook is bad, you shouldn't use it, but I use it, and you use it, a lot of people use it to get out information, valuable news information, social criticism, things like that. And it even does have its social functions amongst your friends. Because
yeah, but Mark, let me be clear. I'm not criticizing you saying it's wrong what you're saying. I 110% agree with you. And it's also who runs the platform. We know Facebook's a government front. We know Google is an admitted government front. We know that, they call their people dumb idiots, or they actually use cuss words, who trust them. We know they're doing that. I'm saying something more like Meetup, though, where it is about getting together and then organizing through that medium and then hitting the streets. I think that's the key, is to go on Facebook, MySpace, all these systems, and to use it. That's why coming up October 13th or October 14th, it's done. We're doing it. It's taken a year to do. It's just as good or even better than Facebook. But with our system, you basically don't have to give us anything, to sign up, except for an email address. We can turn it off if they post porn or anything. It's going to be a clean site. Turn off their page. But we're going to have a system to get people together. And I'll tell you why. We had a little cheat program that was easy to use. It got about 27,000 members. It was the InfoWars social network. People ran their own scripts. It crashed. This system we've got is 1,000 times, literally more robust, and won't be having that problem. But so many people said they met their wife or their husband through it. I went to the UFC because I was invited to it, and I went to the UFC in Austin. I had 2 separate couples come up, great-looking couples, who met over the InfoWars social network of only 27,000 people because it didn't work very well. There's going to be videos on this, announcements. I'm going to say, don't just try to get a bunch of friends here. We're going to have areas for folks that are into the Second Amendment, folks that are into land rights, people that are into non-GMO and gardening. We're going to have places, for people to socially get together. We're not going to call it dating, but it's going to be, hey, you want to make a bowling league? You want to, find other patriots? That's why I'm so excited about this. Use their matrix system to reach them. Here's another example, as I was saying earlier. The iPhone, Mark, is a tool of dehumanization and enslavement. It's a computer you take around with you, a whole database of what you've done. People then say, well, why do you have an iPhone app? Because we're going into the matrix with the free iPhone app, that even if you don't have an iPhone, you go get the free app link at Infowars.com. You send it to everyone you know, and now they can just click one little button and hear the show wherever they are and get access to the free podcast and the rest of it. So there's the example of what I'm saying. iPhones are bad. They're designed to control you, designed to surveil you. The government can just flip the camera on in it and watch whatever you're doing and listen to you. They admit it. So
pretty soon that'll probably be considered. You probably won't have any reasonable expectation of privacy. I wouldn't be surprised if they change the laws in the New World Order that says that, well, if you're within talking distance of your cell phone, you don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy. So you'll have data mining systems like Echelon just constantly listening to everyone. It's quite incredible. I agree with you. I use Facebook to get out the word, and occasionally it does even have some good social aspects. If you want to post a thing and say, hey, we're all going to go down to whatever restaurant tonight if you want to come, or it is a way, but it's just gotten kind of taken over, and the narcissistic aspects have just run rampant. And I don't know, many people might not even be aware of some of the other aspects of Facebook, just opening your whole world up to, I mean, your audience obviously is, maybe some of the newer audience haven't considered some of these thoughts, but there's a lot of instances of people's homes being burglarized